Just as
This?
no,
It didn't feel like it was closed.
did that.
You sure?
I'm 100% sure.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. Just Tom's stressing because I am having a juice while I'm pregnant. So what I wanted to do today was jump on here. I used to do these all the time on my little Instagram page for the transformations. I'm pretty sure I deleted them because I just stopped doing them. So I wanted to bring them back because I do want to be able to educate people, and I hope that you can take something from this to implement into your life. I'm going to really break it down to basics so that anyone can understand it and put it in a perspective that hopefully makes sense to a lot of people and really takes away a lot of stress. Or it doesn't matter what way you put it. If you want to be healthier or you want to lose fat or you're looking to tone up, all of these things are going to link into the same category. So we'll put them all in that category. So what I want to do is go through the most important things. So what we're looking for here is something that you can maintain, something you can feel really healthy and happy towards for a consistent base. I think there's two things that I need to make very clear, and they're just as bad as each other if they're not done in the right way. So number one is if you are overtraining and undereating and not exercising at all. You don't want to put ridiculous amounts of stress on your body where you're trying to do 2 workouts a day and you're not eating anything because you want to get really good results, because you will essentially get no results, and then you just feel so defeated and so depleted because you put in so much effort and so much discipline, and you're not getting to where you want to be. Now, I'm not saying that you don't need to train and you don't need to have discipline. You definitely do, but there's that fine line of understanding, like, you know, an everyday girl like me or someone that's training for a competition. And I think a lot of people go to these people that's what they do. Amazing. But if you're not looking to compete or go on stage because you're an athlete, don't take on those systems of doing something that's so intense to that level because you want to lose weight for 6 to 8 weeks, which is also fine. But you've got to think about where you're going to be after those 6 to 8 weeks. So I'm just trying to like detox of all that stuff, get people to have a more realistic approach. Yes, it might take you a little bit longer. It might be something that, you know, you don't get these ridiculous results where someone else is getting on social media, but you're doing it in a way that works for you and you can maintain it forever, so you can go out for dinners and, you know, you don't have to track your food all the time, and you're not constantly tracking every single exercise you do. Personally, I just don't think that is sustainable for the rest of your life. And I think that's where people go from a lifestyle or something that's controlling you or something that should feel really healthy and really happy. And you should look forward to exercising, and you should go for a walk place where you're older. You don't want to be tracking everything you're doing. You want to just be able to live a really balanced life and know that you've got the tools and the education behind it to be able to do that. So I'm trying to give you guys that education today in a really simple way. It is really simple, and it's energy in versus energy out. If you are overeating and you're sitting on your ass all day, but you're eating ridiculous amounts of calories, you're going to put on weight. So you've really got to stop and be real with yourself and be honest with yourself. We all justify things that make us feel better, but you need to really be real with yourself and be like, am I eating too fucking much? And am I not moving every day? And is a little walk around the street enough for me? Or do I really need to start pushing myself? So, you know, pushing yourself can be going to Pilates every day. Like mentally, that could be really hard for you. So you need to push yourself to get there. It doesn't matter who you are. You need to find what works for you. And I know what I love to do, and you might not like that form of exercise, and that's perfectly fine. So find what you love to do. Find something that challenges you, but you love it at the same time, and it makes you feel really good and it gets you moving. I think that's the most important thing. And then obviously, like any form of movement is going to give you better. If you feel like there's still progress or you want to get to a better place, then you need to be honest with yourself and look at where your life is now and be like, okay, am I happy with to justify that? Especially now being pregnant, I can be like, you know, well, I'm pregnant and I don't have to move and I can eat whatever I want. And I don't use those justifications because I don't believe that. I just think that they're excuses. And, you know, it's that mindset behind it, which is another thing that I want to talk about. It is your mindset, and, you know, it's really being real with yourself and not making those excuses, and appreciate yourself and your body, and you love your body, that you want to do what's going to make it feel and look good. If you don't have that perspective, like they want certain things, but they might exercise once a week for it. And they're still doing something that's really positive and really good. But if you feel the way you do to such a level that it consumes you, do more, because you're obviously not doing enough and it's not satisfying you, because results will come with that. So, you know, you've got to see what level it is for you. When you know where that level is, put in that time and effort and energy, and nothing is to understand your body type. We are all so different. If you go and get a generic plan off the internet that's based for one person that you have a completely different body type to them, it's so irrelevant. They exercise so much, you do nothing, and you're completely different. You've got different areas in someone that can specifically do something relevant to you and your body type, and get them to explain to you what they're doing, why they're doing this, why do you have to have these things, like get education behind it and understanding. You've got food groups that you need to understand what you need them for, what are their purpose, are they fuel sources, do you need them for muscle recovery yourself? Otherwise, if that's just all too much, just stop and go, okay, really have that conversation with yourself. Am I eating 3 meals a day? That's a really good place to start. Am I eating 3 meals a day? Are they good for me? If the answer is no, eat 3 better meals a day. Go for a walk every day. It can be as simple as that to completely change, first of all, your results, but your mindset and the energy that you're putting towards looking after yourself. And naturally, you're going to make even better and better choices. You may not need to go into all this complex stuff yourself. Then make time. People always say they've got no time, and I just think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. We all have time. Everyone has the same amount of hours in the day. And you can find time if something is important to you. Like I said before, your energy in versus energy out is really important. So if you're trying to lose weight or be in a deficit, but you're not exercising and you're just eating a lot, you're not going to lose weight. Cut back your calories. So stop eating so much, but also make sure you don't go to the other end of things where you're not eating enough. So it's probably fueling yourself. I'm not saying that you need to track your food. Like, I don't think that you should do that every day, unless you're doing it for a specific reason. But I do think it's really good for education if you don't know where you sit in terms of, like, am I eating enough protein? Am I having enough calories for my body type and, you know, my BMI? And I think it's really good to educate yourself. So do it for a period of time, get education, see if you can get into a really good routine with it, and give yourself time. So many people want to get to where they want to be, and they might do it for a month or, you know, 2 months, and they don't get to where they want to be, that they give up. And that is your body still resetting. Like, an 8-week block, your body, if you're overproducing insulin because you've been just eating whatever and junk food and shit and processed stuff and sugars, 8 weeks, an 8-week period of time, unless you're like really, really strict and disciplined, your body is still reducing all that insulin that you've overproduced. So it's still going through a rebuilding phase before you're even going to go into that phase of that fat loss phase. So you've got to give yourself time. You've got to be patient with it. It's not something like, you might not see results for the first 8 weeks, but that's okay. If you've made really amazing positive changes, that's enough for you to keep going. There's so many other benefits to changing this kind of stuff that you need to remind yourself there's more about it than just the physicals. It's about taking care of yourself and having discipline and making really good choices, even on days when you can't be bothered. And all those things are just as important as the other stuff. So factor in that it does take time, be patient to yourself and to your journey, and realize you are so unique. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. I think that's also so important. Even if they're doing the same thing as you and you guys have done it together, but they've gotten these results, or you're a completely different individual and you're not going to have the same results, and that is okay. Be unique with yourself. And I think the most important thing along the way of, regardless of where you want to be, and I think we've all got goals, I think it's really important that you be kind to yourself on the way there. It's not to say that, you know, I think a lot of people do have insecurities, and that's totally normal, but it really is that mindset switch where if you can be kind to yourself along the way and, you know, envision where you want to be and see yourself as a person you want to be and praise yourself and love yourself and say it's really important that you change what you're saying. Even if you find yourself about to say it, stop it and say, you know, I'm really happy with where I've come and I love my body and I'm really excited to keep getting healthier and healthier every day. So little things like that will definitely better your journey. Practicing those things is probably the hardest part for people. It's really easy for some people to exercise, but it is so hard for them to say nice things about themselves. And I think that's something that you've got to remind yourself is equally as important as all the other stuff that you will invest time into. Just think about what you're putting into your body. So detoxify it all and go back to what you know. Like, you've got your proteins, whether it be plant-based or meats. Like, if you're going to go plant-based, go an option that's going to be the cleanest possible option for you. If you're going to have meat, don't get fatty cuts of processed meat or things like ham and salami, and they're not proper sources of protein, and you're not going to get the results that you want, and you're not going to feel really good. There's not even really any protein in them. But I think that's really important. Like, personally, the more you cut out gluten, dairy, and processed sugars, that is something that I live by, and I will to the day I die, is you will get the best results you possibly can. It's not to say that like everything you're going to eat should be these really dense gluten-free stuff, because that's not always the best option. It is, once again, education, but cutting out, you know, a lot of gluten, a lot of dairy, and a lot of processed sugars as much as you can. Still have those things when you want to have them. We all do. But I think it's just about like that not being your base. So get educated with that stuff. Obviously, make sure you're having the right supplementation for you. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Dehydration often links to people eating a lot more because they're never hydrated. So just little things like that will really help you too. Obviously, then the type of exercise that you're doing, I think that's really important as well. Like the answer, you don't need to over exercise to get to where you want to be. You need to be patient. You need to give yourself proper training days, proper rest days. Your rest day, you can still go for a walk, or you can still do some stretching or do some meditation and do all those things that are just as beneficial to give yourself a rest day. But don't think that if you train every day that you're going to get these amazing results, because your body does need rest and recovery. So it's really important that you structure those things. Think, oh my God, I've got to start running to lose weight. You will lose more weight and you'll get even better results doing strength training. A combination of strength and cardio is amazing. Your cardio can be whatever form you want. You really want a good combination of both of them, and you don't want to overtrain. So, 3 proper strength days, whether they're full body or split, that's completely up to you, but give yourself that little rest in between, and then you can still put your cardio in on those days, and then give yourself a proper rest day, on the weekend, or the weekend where you meditation day, have a bath, have a sauna, do all that stuff. That's really good for you. I think like one of the biggest things, something that I would love to change more than anything, is like fads and, marketing manipulation and things like that. Like, people will see something that's like no sugar and they're like, okay, amazing. Well, I'm going to have that because it's Coke Zero, no sugar. It still has the same amount of fucking sweetener in it, and it's so bad for you. Like, that stuff is just, it is marketing. It's so smart because people actually believe it, and they think that they can have, that entire thing because it's got no amount of sweetener in it. It's a difference between that and then something like Pana chocolate that's like refined sugar free. Like that I actually get because they're using natural sweeteners in it. So it doesn't have sugar in it. That's not marketing manipulation. But if you get a block of Lindt and it just says no sugar, they're still putting the same amount of sweetener in it. You kind of don't look for any short quick fixes or fads. But just know at the end of that, you need to be in a place where you still feel like you can continue to go. So you're far better off just taking the time to invest in yourself and into what you're doing. Get moving, focus on strength training. 3 days a week is amazing. Don't go too heavy if you're just starting. And I think a full body workout in a moderate way is ideal unless you're really into strength training. It's far better for females' physiques anyway to do it that way. And then focus on cardio. It can be walking, it can be the bike, it can be perfectly fine to go out for dinner and have what you want. I think everyone, to get to where they want to be, needs to understand that those things should still be in your life, and you will get really amazing results. Focus on yourself and loving yourself, and you'll get really good results. And if you don't feel like you're where you want to be, then hopefully this has inspired you to really stop and reflect upon that. Ask yourself the right questions, and then know that from tomorrow you can be a completely different person. And in a year's time, that will have a completely different outcome. So if you put in the time and energy into anything, you will get to where you want to be. I'm not saying it will be easy, but it should be enjoyable. It should require hard work and discipline, and that's all a part of the journey.